Hi everyone. Today we're going to discuss recognizing a chemical change. Let's take a look at the sample problem. Which of the following signs are not indications of a chemical change? And be careful with this problem. It says, what are not indications? So we want to make sure we find the things that are not chemical changes. Those will be our correct answers. So here it says leaves changing color from green to yellow. Remember that chemical changes involve things happening to the identity or chemical makeup of a substance. So leaves, when they change color, something is happening chemically to change them from green to yellow. So that must mean that this is a chemical change and hence not one of our answers. B, liquids changing shape based on the shape of the container. That is something that does not involve a chemical change. The liquid stays the same, it just takes the shape of a different container, which doesn't require a change in the chemical makeup. So this is one of our answers, because it is something that is not a chemical change. Density of water changes from when it's a liquid state to a solid state. So here, the density is a physical property that's changing when you change from liquid to solid state. But it is not something that involves chemical changes or something changing the chemical makeup. Only when a chemical change is happening, the physical properties might change, but also the chemical properties change. Here, density, only a physical property is changing. And so this is also an example of something that is not a chemical change. So this will also be one of our answers. So we have now sounds from an exploding firecracker. Sounds, remember that was one of our clues when we're thinking about chemical changes, if we hear something coming from them. And firecrackers don't go off until a chemical reaction or chemical change happens so that the sounds can be produced and you can see the bright lights that come from them. So this is also an example of a chemical change, so it can't be our answer. And E, milk smelling bad after its expiration date. This is because a chemical change has happened and has made it smell bad and changed the odor of the substance. So again, this is another indication of a chemical change. And so we know that E can also not be an example it cannot be our answer because it is an example of a chemical change. So our answers for this question are B and C, which are not chemical changes.